Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome to Center Court, our latest edition of Upstate Basketball Insider. Alongside, as always, is Coach Eddie Payne. Coach, your team picks up a 5th consecutive victory with success on the road at Kennesaw State.
Yeah, it was a good performance in terms of consistency, focus. They did a good job of playing possession by possession. I thought we saw some things from an offensive perspective from Kennesaw we hadn't seen before. We made adjustments. The kids were able to follow those. They were effective in doing so. And then on offense, we did a good job of getting good looks without turning the ball over excessive amount of times. We just were slowly, consistently steady throughout the game.
Let's get rolling by taking a look back at the highlights from Upstate's victory on the road outside of Atlanta. So 74-46, the final, as Upstate runs away and hides in the second half. Coach, does it seem to you and your staff that your team is really hitting its stride at the right time in conference play?
Well, it appears that that we have developed more of a maturity perspective on offense. I think that our offensive possessions the last few games, well, last 3 halves anyway, have been much better. And our guys are getting confidence from that. They're playing good defense. I mean, I think we've held opponents under 60 points 13 times this year, so our defense has been consistent throughout the year, but it has been so lately. And, all those things are good. I mean, we've only have, 6 games left, so, this is a good time to be playing well. Hopefully we can continue that with a big weekend coming up.
We'll talk about that big weekend coming up, but as we wrap our thoughts on that Kennesaw State victory, just a couple of highlights from that game. You had 5 early scorers in that game that helped you build a lead, a 14-point lead at the half, and then a 14-0 run in the second half to allow you to pull away. Ty Green leads you in scoring again, as it seems he always does. What else is there to say about the performance of Ty Green here of late?
Ty's performing really well, and I think he's got a much better sense of pace and trust with his teammates. We're not doing a whole lot of, quote, special things for him. We do some, obviously, but he's really blended in with our team offensive system, and our team has an eye out for him all the time, and so he's really getting things out of the flow, and that just makes a player more effective. And of course, when he gets open looks, he's making them. He's knocking down shots. He's shooting at a much better level right now too. He's making, his percentages are all up here in the last 4 or 5 games.
Shooting over 50% in that game. And you think about what he's done from the three-point line of late. 26 three-pointers in his last 5 games, including 5 in that game against Kennesaw State. As we get to know one of the Spartans in this particular edition of Center Court, another gentleman who shoots the three-point basket really well. Tristan Thomas sits down with us. We thank Tristan for visiting with us on Get to Know Your Spartan.
The one thing people would probably be surprised to know about me, it would be probably that I've never lost in a snowball fight. My favorite movie would probably be Elf, and my favorite part of that movie is when he has like 100 snowballs in his arms and he's just winging them at people, and it's just, being from Maine, that's just basically what you see when you're having a snowball fight with your friends, is just pack all the snowballs as you can and just let them rip. Being from Maine, I think it's hilarious how people react to the cold and chance of snow down here. When I first moved down south, the first snowstorm scare that we had, I went to Walmart that night. No one was on the roads, and there was no bread, no milk, and all the aisles were cleared. So I mean, I just laughed, and I took a picture of it and sent it to my folks back home, and they all laughed. I mean, we don't usually cancel school unless it's more than 8 inches of snow, so we only have maybe 3 or 4 snow days in a year unless it's real bad. So it's funny to me, the slightest bit of snow down here, everyone just scrambles. My favorite colors will probably be blue and red. I'm not really sure why, but they just tend to match up with a lot of things in my closet, so it's really what I go to. The best thing about having a big family would probably be just that everyone's together. I got 3 older brothers and a younger sister. You know, with 3 older brothers, you know, basketball was just our pretty much primary game growing up. My older brothers are all older than me, so it was playing against higher competition basically my whole childhood. So them beating up on me, you know, dunking on me and all that. It was actually a funny story that my brothers put me up on a 10-foot hoop when I was 9 years old, and they left me there, and one of them tried to grab my ankles, let me down, and I let go, and I smacked my head on the pavement. I was in 3rd grade, so my favorite past student athlete would probably have to be Jimmer Fredette from BYU. I loved watching him play and just the enthusiasm that he played with. You know, he was a shooter, and he got himself to the NBA. He's 6'2", so you know I'm 6'2", so it kind of comparison in his game. You know, I kind of strive to just play with as much energy as I can, and basically try to shoot the ball as best I can. So he's definitely my favorite past student athlete. I don't really listen to too much music before games to really get pumped up. I usually just kind of think and visualize the game, think about why I'm here, what kind of motivates me. You know, being so far away from home, I don't really have much family come down and watch me play, so I kind of just visualize, you know, them watching it through the camera, and you know what it kind of means like to them to see me play at this kind of level. The people who have most influenced my life would definitely be my parents. You know, they've always taught me hard work, and they've always shown me that hard work pays off. My dad had always had high hopes of playing basketball at a higher level, but in middle school he basically got stuck working 40-hour-a-week jobs all the way through high school, so he was never given a chance to really play at a high level. And then my parents had my oldest brother at an early age, so then he had to worry about a family. So you know, I kind of take it into my own personal realm to try to play through him, you know, playing for 2 people. For him, seeing me play at this kind of level is kind of reliving his past. You know, seeing me out here, he always comes down and shoots with me in the gyms and stuff. So it's definitely on my shoulders, I feel like, to try to relive his youth and try to just do the best I can, just showing him and making him proud, really.
And we appreciate the sophomore from Bangor, Maine, taking time to visit with us on this edition of Get to Know Your Spartan. We'll continue with Center Court on the other side of the break.
People know you and they get to know you on a personal level, and they know your abilities.
And this is really a place where I have seen, and I mean this is a place where I've seen students come here and really try to figure out who it is that they are.
Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I think every college kid goes through that. But being here at Upstate, being a part of so many different programs, I know what my purpose is, and I can say that with confidence.
You don't get lost in the crowd at Upstate.
USC Upstate is a place where people can discover themselves.
Welcome back to Center Court. Coach Tammy George joins us for a discussion of the women's basketball team, very much in the thick of the Atlantic Sun Conference race. And Coach, we look back at the Kennesaw State game on Saturday. I know you felt like you had some opportunities, especially at the line, to maybe do something. You close up to a 3-point deficit in the early second half, but in the end it just didn't quite go your way.
Yeah, we just, from an offensive standpoint, we just struggled and struggled. It was really an ugly game for both teams. I didn't feel like they played up to their potential. Again, a good basketball team, but it was just an ugly game offensively. Both teams were shooting very poorly. We did a great job of getting ourselves to the line, but then we struggled once we got to the line. We shot 16 for 30 to finish out the game. And when you're struggling offensively and you do a good job of getting to the line, you got to make free throws, you got to knock them down, and we just didn't do a good job of that.
You talked about Brittany Clincy a couple of weeks ago and the way you feel like she's really upped her game. She ends up leading you in scoring in the contest. How'd you feel about her performance?
Again, you know, she's she does what she does. She plays a lot of minutes for us. She handles the basketball. We put a lot of pressure on her to do the things we have a lot of expectations for her. But she's coming along. She plays hard for us, and she's doing a good job of putting the ball in the basket for us as of late when we struggled the other day.
You were saying off camera right before we began that you're really in a interesting and a pretty good spot when it comes to the conference standings, in that you can really leap a series of teams with a win or two here at home this week.
Yeah, there's like 5, 6, 7, and 8 are all bundled up there, maybe separated by 1 or 2 games. And again, this weekend, it seems like every time we play North Florida and Jacksonville, it's huge for us. But again, every game is huge when when you're separated by 1 game. So we can really separate ourselves this weekend and put together a good weekend. We can stay in the mix there, 4th and 5th.
You mentioned how 1 game can make a tremendous difference. You've got 2 big ones in the River City. Let's break them down one at a time. Walk us through North Florida and what challenges they'll present as you go on the road on Thursday.
Well, I think they're obviously in a little bit of the same boat as we are. They're much better at home. Again, Mary's thing has always been defensively. I know they can't obviously score. They're not putting up a lot of points, but her thing has always been defensively, and so we're going to be in a battle. I mean, it's never been easy there, so we're in for a battle, but hopefully we can get this one.
Jacksonville is up next, as you'll stay there in the River City. Take them on Saturday. How about that contest?
Well, I feel like they feel like that we stole one from them here, so they'll be ready to play us and hyped. And again, every game is you got to be ready to play because it matters so much. And but I feel like we can have a good weekend if we could just put together a good offensive stance there and put together some. We got to do better offensively and score the basketball. So if we can do that, I feel like we can have a good weekend.
It matters so much because the tournament setup is what it is. Talk a little bit about that for the fans.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'd love to host a game here. You don't want to as well as we've done here at home. So, but we it's just 1 game at a time. We got to take it 1 game at a time and just try to do what we can for 1 game at a time and just play our best basketball. And there's a lot of basketball left. There's still 6 games left, and again, it's just 1 at a time.
Well, Coach, we wish you all the best and good luck on the road.
Thank you.
Spartans will try to make up some major ground in the conference standings with games at North Florida and Jacksonville. You can keep up with everything related to the women's program this week at upstatespartans.com. We'll be back with more Center Court right after this.
For 35 years, the Atlantic Sun Conference has supported its member institutions in their commitment to the hard work, dedication, and determination of building winners for life. As the ASUN aggressively seeks to expand opportunities, its student athletes and the institutions they represent stand among the nation's best in academics, athletics, and service to their communities. At the ASUN, the aim is the successful balance of student and athlete. The Atlantic Sun Conference, at its best, building winners for life.
Welcome back to Center Court. It's now time to go inside the game with Coach Payne. And Coach, there was a play you were particularly pleased with at the end of the half. You felt like really almost put the dagger in. It was Marvin slamming it home to finish it up after Josh Cuthbertson, who had a double-figure performance in the game, was able to create an opportunity for you.
Well, Josh he has been playing better, and he's really doing a great job of making energy-type plays, offensive rebounds, different things like that. And there was a kind of a scrum for a loose ball he created. He got a deflection. He got on the floor. He kind of grabbed the ball in a crowd, threw it kind of over his shoulder almost, not quite, but to Marvin. Marvin took it and dunked it in. Horn went off. It really was a big boost for our team and a deflating moment for Kennesaw's team.
That particular play built the 14-point halftime lead before Upstate went on to a very large victory in that game against Kennesaw State. How about the health of your team after the Kennesaw State road trip as you come in? You mentioned it earlier. We'll talk about it in a moment. A very big stretch of games coming up here at home. Where do you sit health-wise?
We're okay. Mario got elbowed in the Adam's apple during that game, and if you've ever had that happen to you, that's not very pleasant, particularly when it's a pretty hard blow, which this was. And I think Ty got a contusion on his thigh. He got a knee in the thigh. But Sandy, who was our trainer, Michael Sandago, terrific, as good as I've been around in my career. He promises me those guys will be ready to go on Thursday.
Good to know with the 2 games we have coming up. We will talk about those next with Coach Payne, and that's a look at our Spartanburg Regional Sports Medicine Injury Report. But right now, we'll step away for our special segment, which highlights Valentine's Day, which is right now just a couple of days away.
I'm Alex Love reporting for Center Court, and I'm here with my new friend Jake, who was the star in a play, Our Country is Good, last year. Jake, how are you today?
Doing well, man. Thanks.
Good, good. So, Valentine's Day is coming up, and we want to ask some students on campus, what is the best Valentine's Day gift you've ever given or received by anyone?
I think the best Valentine's Day gift I've ever received was actually a drinking horn. It was like a Nordic drinking horn made from like an actual bull's horn that my girlfriend got for me. It was pretty awesome.
Your heart doesn't get torn from a drinking horn. I'm here with one of the soccer players here at USC Upstate, Carmen. Carmen, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Good, good. So Valentine's Day is coming up, and we want to ask some students, what is the best Valentine's Day gift you've ever received or given to somebody?
Well, I love Valentine's Day, so I always give presents to every single one of my friends, and I make sure to give them the best candy that they absolutely love.
Love never ends when you give candy for your friends.
Well, it doesn't really have anything to do with the romantic relationship, but I got to meet my youngest sister on Valentine's Day, and that's probably the best gift I've ever gotten.
I have gotten a trip to Charlotte from my boyfriend. He took me on a date out there. It's one of my favorite places to go, and it was really sweet that he took me all the way there.
In high school, I got a huge teddy bear and like 2 5-pound bags of Skittles from my boyfriend, and it was actually pretty awesome. It's the best Valentine's Day ever.
Well, one of the best Valentine's Day gifts I ever gotten was from my ex-girlfriend. She gave me a pair of Air Maxes, 95 Air Maxes.
New pair of shoes to stay out of the Valentine's Day blues. I'm Alex Love reporting for Center Court.
Thanks, Alex. And now we will turn our attention to two very important contests as the conference season begins to wind down. It begins, Coach, with North Florida, a stretch of 2 games against teams that you were able to defeat in the River City. Now they come into the Hodge Center looking for a little revenge.
Yeah, we just played them, it seems like, and here we are playing them again. North Florida is an exceptionally good basketball team. They've got scores all over the place. Beach and Mackey and Moore, 3 really good perimeter players who can shoot it, drive it, put it on the deck, and you know, they're having a great year, and that was a big win down there. And certainly coming back, they'll be ready to go, and we'll have to be at the top of our game to beat them. And you know, but you know, if we beat them, we got to be ready to beat Jacksonville. We got to come to play in that game. We got to focus in on every game and see if we can climb our way back up and give ourselves a chance to play at first place. So, you know, we're just right now our team is really doing a good job of focusing on the task at hand. So we're hoping that they can do that this coming Thursday and Saturday.
It's important if you get a chance to come out and pack the Hodge Center on Thursday and Saturday, with Thursday being one you maybe circle particularly because the Spartans get to chase a team out in front of them in the conference standings. And Coach, we talk about conference standings, we talk about the season beginning to wind down in the conference. Share with us a little bit about how important the positioning is in the conference when you come down to the wire because of the way the tournament is set up in the ASUN with home court advantage on the line.
Well, the tournament setup really makes this so much more important in terms of getting a higher seed. I mean, you know, in many ways we regret that it's done that way because I think the tournament experience for players, student athletes, is greater when you go to one place and everybody gathers. We don't do it that way, and so therefore playing at the highest seeded, the home side of the highest seeded team gives that team a particular edge. So, you know, we're trying to do everything we can to get to first or second, hopefully, and that would make a big difference. 2 home games versus 2 road games, or possibly 3 home games is the carrot for you. So we're trying to do that, but you know, we're just, you know, from a coach speak to some degree, but it's true. You know, you just try to stay in the moment, right, and let the chips fall where they may. But the result of all that is significant.
Well, it could be that this week's games, we look back at them, you never know at the moment, but it could be we look back at this week's home game stretch as games that determined whether the Spartans got one seed or the other. You want to make sure you come out and pack the Hodge, and I know it will be packed, Coach.
The home crowd helps any team and certainly makes a big difference for us.
Well, thanks for your time and all the best this week at home.
Thank you, Jason.
Before we wrap today's show, it's time for you to vote for our social media play of the week. As you might expect, Shelby Hicks' buzzer beater survives as our champ at the moment, but here's a solid alley-oop play to Daniel Bridges, which came in the St. Andrews game, that will serve as our challenger. You can tweet to @Upstate Spartans using the hashtag #CCTopPlay to determine who survives and advances to the next edition of Center Court. Keep up with everything related to the Spartans in a very busy and important week of basketball. Thursday and Saturday games for both the men's and women's team. And if you get a chance, come out and be with us at the Hodge Center this week. Happy Valentine's Day to you and all around you. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday night as we have our newest edition of Center Court.